time. This is the best team that they can put on the field this year.
Welcome to 49ers Forecast.
You guys are going to hear it. The latest from the locker room, the latest from the podium, the latest scuttle from the players.
On your proud home of 49ers football. KNBR, the sports leader. Your faithful fix with your host Larry Krueger begins now.
And away we go. Wow, we got a brand new open. Fired up. The guys behind the scenes hustling here at the leader. 49er Forecast. We've been using our Niners Nightly intro for 49er Forecast. But now we got a new intro. We got a Niner Nightly intro. We got a 49er Forecast intro. Man, we're on top of our game. We cannot be beat. Welcome to 49er Forecast. Larry Krueger with you. Yes, I've had my morning coffee. Yes, I'm a little wired. No, I don't. Anybody who knows me knows I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. This is all natural. All natural, I say. Did just wolf down my scrambled egg, though. My wife made me some eggs, and she went for a bike ride. She said, "Oh, yeah, I made you some eggs." And I'm like, I only have like a minute before the show. No problem. Wolf down some scrambled eggs. So I'm feeling really energetic, extra protein in me. Welcome to 49er Forecast. We got a great hour for you. Tomorrow, of course, we'll have the game, the Niners and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a battle of beat up, banged up, 4-1 football teams that have a lot going on. The winner is going to be the top seed in the NFC. Thank you, New York Giants, Thursday night, taking care of the Philadelphia Eagles. So, whoever wins Niners-Bucks is going to be in a great spot going forward, without a doubt. So who's going to win the game? And who do you like, and why do you like him? We'll talk all about it. Justin Allegri, the voice of Cal Sports. He is the man on the call for Cal football. I was just there for Duke last week. Cal basketball. And he is doing some great work filling in for our guy, Greg Papa. So that's how great is Greg Papa? You can't replace him with one man. It takes 7 guys to replace Greg Papa. But that in reality, it's almost true. And Justin Allegri is going to be on the call with Tim Ryan, T-Rock, and Justin Allegri from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Niners Bucks, and I'll be on the pregame with JD and Adam Copeland on the postgame, and hopefully we'll be talking about the 49ers rolling to 5-1. But there is a late breaking story that we should start with today. And if you want to chime in, 808 KNBR is the number. Justin Allegri is going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. But we do have time to take some of your calls if you want to jump in. What do you think? What do you think, Niners Bucks? What do you think about the Niners out of the chute, 4-1? And what do you think of this report? The 49ers are currently exploring trade options for a pass rusher and are expected to check on the availability of Trey Hendrickson. This came out this morning from Diana Rossini. She is reporting that the Niners expected to check on the availability of Trey Hendrickson. Now, I think Shanahan and Lynch are playing their cards exactly right on this thing. If you heard Shanahan talk the other day, he's like, look, they're like, are you more apt to do this or more apt to do that? And he's like, if we can find somebody who can help us this year, doesn't cost us everything next year, then, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. But he's also smart enough to Kyle Shanahan's been doing this a while. He kind of gets it at this point, and he gets it. You're doing sales. When you're a head coach, you're selling your program. When you're the general manager, you're selling your program. Why does John Lynch do a show on KNBR? Because he's selling his program to Niner fans who reside on KNBR. Why is Kyle Shanahan on KNBR? Because he's selling his program to the fans via KNBR. That's why they do these shows. Do you think they just need another person asking them questions? There's enough people in their world asking them questions. What they want to do is they want to speak to you. They're trying to speak to you, the fan. They're trying to communicate to you. They're trying to use KNBR as a vehicle to be able to communicate what their plan is. And this just in, it's sales. It's basic tenets of sales. I'm sure there's lots of people in our listening audience who might be doing sales right now. They might be doing home sales. They're on the way to selling windows or doors or siding or roofing or whatever. People do sales. How do you do sales? You underpromise and you overdeliver. And if you do the opposite, you're a fool. You cannot overpromise, underdeliver. If you do that, your name is Farhan Zaidi. That's what Farhan did. Oh, the trade deadline's coming up. There is no player out there that is too big. We are going to kick tires on every great player. Fans, rest assured, we are going to be in the deal flow. All this crap, and then you trades for AJ Pollock and cuts him 3 weeks later after he gets no hits. That's Farhan Zaidi, a smart guy who's so smart that he never had a sales job in his life and couldn't do basic tenets of sales, which is underpromise, overdeliver. He had to overpromise and underdeliver, and he got canned. Period. These guys understand the difference. They're going to underpromise and overdeliver. So you're going to ask Kyle Shanahan about, hey, you guys going to make a trade? You're going to ask John Lynch, hey, you going to make a trade? Well, guess what? John Lynch is going to tell Murph and Marcus on the morning show, hey, look, we need to earn the right to make this trade. It's not quite there. We're not quite there yet, but we're trying. We're going to kick tires. We're going to make every effort. But he's not saying to the fans, yes, we are going to get one of the premier guys, and he's going to be walking through that door in 3 weeks. And, as Sabes used to say with the Giants, the cavalry's not coming. The guys in the room can't think that you don't believe in them, and they can't think that somebody's there coming to save them. They have to believe that they are the solution, that they are the answer. And the Niners are no different with how they look at things. They have to send that message to their locker room. We believe in you guys. And if you play well enough, we're going to support you. If you go into the trade deadline, you're 7-1 or whatever, yes, we're going to go out there. We're going to support you. We're going to go hunt down that player. But you're also going to underpromise and overdeliver, because what if you can't? There's only so many sellers. What if you can't make a deal? What if somebody says, hey, I want 2 number ones and I'm not going to budge? Well, then you're going to walk away. So if you've overpromised yourself, you're in a bad spot with your fans. So underpromise, overdeliver. John Lynch downplaying it. Kyle Shanahan downplaying the possibility of a trade. Why? Because that is smart sales. That is underpromising and overdelivering, and that's what they're going to do. But, man, Trey Hendrickson, I mean, at the same time, this idea, and I know some people have thrown it out. Dieter and I have argued about this for many live streams over the last offseason. He's all about this 2026 plan. I think, I don't want to hear about 26. Trent Williams is not going to be better in 2026 than he is right now. And neither is Bosa, who's not available right now. Actually, Bosa will be better in 26, hopefully. Kittle won't be better. Trent won't be better. Warner won't be better. CMC won't be better. You can make an argument almost all of the best players on this team are not going to be. Juwan Jennings might not even be here next year. I mean, to say that you're all about 26 when you're in the midst of 25 and you've got some of the NFL's greatest players who may not even be around in 26, I just think that's not the way the Niners are thinking. They'll get to 26, and it's not like they. I'll say this too: if the price tag for Trey Hendrickson is a 2026 draft first round pick, then they're going to pass, because they're not moving that pick. That pick is earmarked for an offensive tackle replacement for Trent Williams. So when Shanahan says, hey, if we can get a guy that really makes us better, what he's saying is we don't want to just some nominal. We don't want to make a trade to make a trade, and we're not looking for just dudes. We got just dudes. We're looking for difference makers. We're looking for somebody who can get us over the top. So he's thinking big. I don't think they're thinking about small little minor ads. I think they're thinking of who can be a difference maker, a true difference maker, who can make the 49ers defensive line better just by their presence. And Hendrickson definitely checks that list. Jeffrey Simmons of the Tennessee Titans definitely checks that list. Those guys are at the top shelf impact. And then I don't know how many, the other thing is it takes 2 to tango. Who are the real sellers in the NFL? And then are they going to sell to you? That's the other one. I was looking around at who are the real sellers in football. This is the list: Carolina, New Orleans, the Jets, Miami, possibly Cincinnati, but they just traded for Joe Flacco. Um, Cleveland, Tennessee, and Baltimore. Those are your and then somebody might say the Raiders, but the Raiders aren't going. Mark Davis would rather never eat again at PF Chang's than trade Max Crosby to the Niners. He would rather boycott PF Chang's for the rest of time before, and we all know that ain't happening. Mark's going to PF Chang's. He's getting his dumplings. He's getting his dumplings on. He's getting his pot stickers on. He's not trading Max Crosby to the Niners. This just in. The Niners had a really attractive deal on the table for Khalil Mack, and Mark was like, no, we're not doing that. So the Raiders, forget the Raiders. Yeah, they're a seller. Yeah, they probably are, but they're not selling to you. Forget the New York Giants, because I don't think they're going to sell. Did you see Jackson Dart Thursday night? Cam Scattaboo, who was a Niner fan, would have been nice to grab him on draft day. Didn't happen. But the Giants, I mean, Dable and Shane, they're GMing and coaching for their NFL lives. They're not selling. So this Kayvon Thibodeau dream, Brian Burns dream, put that one to bed. That's not happening. Arizona Cardinals, they're probably going to sell, but they're not selling to you. Calais Campbell's not walking through that door. And then Dallas. I mean, Dallas made a trade with the Niners for Trey Lance. That's when they wanted Trey Lance, but they're not going to trade any meaningful defensive piece to the 49ers so the Niners can win the Super Bowl. I mean, Jerry Jones, has lost his marbles, but he's still got his faculties enough to not do that. So take Dallas, Arizona, the Giants, and the Raiders just right off the table. Those teams aren't going to trade with you. So it's a very limited group of sellers. And who's out there? I mean, Arden Key, does that move the needle? Not really. Not really. Miami's got Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. Does that excite you? Okay, maybe. New Orleans got Carl Granderson, Cam Jordan, Davin Godchak. Carolina's got Thomas Incoom. Jets have Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, if you could get him, Michael Clemens. There's not a lot out there. So, there's going to be a lot of bidders, you would think, for a Trey Hendrickson. And I would imagine the price tag's going to be up there. If it's a first round pick in 26, I think the Niners are going to say thanks, but no thanks. We got to use that pick on an offensive tackle. We got to earmark that for Trent Williams replacement. Can't move that pick. But if it's anything shy of that, I think they're probably going to be all in. And I think they should be. The NFC is wide open. Who are the best teams in the NFC? If you just said right now, the best teams in pro football that reside in the NFC, who do you got? Who's the best team in the NFC right now? Philly? World champion Eagles? They just lost to the New York Giants, and they got destroyed by the New York Giants. Detroit? Okay. Detroit looks pretty good. They're not bad. The Rams, you just beat the Rams. Seahawks, you beat the Seahawks. You beat the Rams and the Seahawks in their place. You get Tampa in their place this weekend. If you beat them, you vanquished, 3 of the top contenders in the NFC on the road. Green Bay's pretty good, but I don't think they're world beaters. Detroit's pretty good, but, I mean, their backup quarterback's Kyle Allen, and Goff is not that mobile. So, I mean, they're one hit away from their season being done. And then Commanders, they're all right. Eagles, they look good, but they look like they're coming back to the pack. Seems like they don't have the same offensive line. Run blocking, pass blocking. Their pass rush doesn't seem like it's the same. They just lost Quinyon Mitchell in the game Thursday night. They're now starting to have some injuries. They looked like world beaters in the first couple games, but now Philly looks like not the Super Bowl champion caliber Eagles. So it is wide open. Wide open. Are you telling me that the Niners couldn't go to Washington and beat the Commanders in the playoffs? I beg to differ. I think they can. You telling me they can't go to Detroit or Green Bay or Tampa Bay or L.A. or Seattle or Atlanta or Minnesota or, whatever. Pick your NFC contender that's scary on the road in the playoffs. The Niners can go on the road in the playoffs and beat all of those teams. Are they a perfect team? No. And they're going to be challenged in this game coming up for sure. But they can beat all of those teams. All right, let's do this. Let's take a timeout. Justin Allegri's on the call with Tim Ryan tomorrow, but he's going to join us next. We'll talk a little bit about his career and a little bit about the matchup. We can take some of your calls if you want to chime in. We're here for an hour. Larry Krueger with you. It's 49er forecast on a beautiful Saturday here in Northern California. You're listening to the Sports Leader.
Muy bueno.
KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. it sound right, boy.
I'm having a lot of conversations, a lot of good and productive ones. It is a premium position, so teams don't like just letting those guys out the door when they're good football players. So you have to identify the right guy that, number one, is going to help us. I've been very clear. You're not going to find a player, that's going to go replace Nick Bosa and be as effective as him.
Faithful, time to make some Niners noise. 49ers Forecast with Larry Krueger now continues on your proud home of 49ers football. KNBR, the sports leader.
Welcome back. 49er Forecast on a Saturday. John Lynch, Niners general manager, coming back, talking earlier this week on KNBR with Murph and Marcus about the expectations at the trade deadline, which is coming up first week in November, right around week 9. And we are in week 6 right now. And the man who will be on the call with Tim Ryan is Justin Allegri when the Niners hit the field in Tampa at Raymond James tomorrow. And you'll hear the duo on the leader, and he's with us today to chop it up and talk a little Niners on 49er Forecast. Justin, how are you?
I'm good, Larry. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for coming on. It's funny. I didn't realize that, my sons are big fans of MLB The Show. And I didn't realize that you're the voice on there. You're one of the voices on there.
Yeah. It's kind of surreal still when I fire up that video game, but it's been a while now. And I think they've since taken out that feature of the game, but we could be bringing it back at a later date. We'll see. But yeah, it's if you were playing in franchise mode and you were in the calendar and your character wanted to sim through to their next date, it was me coming up to tell you how your character did. So still pretty surreal and a lot of fun. And it's really cool to see how that game is just produced and the back end side of it. And as a baseball fan, it's kind of paradise down in their studios in San Diego. It's all baseball themed. So it's a lot of fun. It's different because it's just script reading and trying to work with the director. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, Justin, if you recognize his voice, a voice of Cal sports, Cal football, Cal basketball. Cal's got the bye week this week, and Justin's going to be filling in for the great Greg Papa alongside Tim Ryan in Tampa. And before we talk a little bit about the Niners and the matchup and this game tomorrow, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm sure we have lots and lots of crossover Cal football, Cal basketball, and Niner fans, but there probably are people that aren't Cal fans and are coming across you for the first time. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Justin, where you grew up and how you got to this point.
Yeah, I think the great fortune that I've been able to have is to find a job in my hometown area. In this business, it's really hard to do that, and inevitably you're going to have to move. But I grew up in Santa Cruz and went to college at San Jose State, and kind of realized early on going through junior college that I wanted to get into broadcasting, and figured out a way that I wanted to stay in sports and get around it, and didn't really know what that was going to look like. So I went to San Jose State with the understanding that I would be able to get on air on their student station, and I did. And then at that point, I fell in love with it, and I just decided that I was going to try and push as hard as I could to keep on the air and see where that would take me. And it ended up being that I got hired at San Jose State as their primary broadcaster for football and men's basketball and a variety of other roles. And I was there for 10 years. And, I tried to move up at some point, but the right job just never presented itself. And then when Joe Starkey announced that he was retiring after 48 seasons, I knew that was going to be a possibility that I could at least have a foot in the door and see if that could happen. And it did. And it still amazes me that over the course of now 13 years of calling FBS football as the primary voice of the program, I haven't had to move. It's just been in the Bay Area. So really, really fortunate about that. And in that time, I've done some work with the San Jose Giants and the great Joe Rizzo down there. So it's been a lot of fun. I feel like this is also a surreal moment because this is the team that I grew up rooting for and watching and paying close attention to. The 49ers have always been the football team of the Bay Area, and now I get a chance to call them. It's fantastic.
Well, it's a credit to you. I mean, most people have to go from Tulsa to Cincinnati to here to Bakersfield to there, and that you've been able to stay here just kind of shows that you have a lot of talent and you've gotten some great opportunities and you've made the most of them. You've done all the three major sports. You've actually done hockey as well, I'm sure. What do you think? I mean, if somebody says the most difficult sport to do play-by-play for? Is it basketball? Is it college football where you got so many different names? Is it NFL football? Is it baseball where there's so much time to fill and you actually have to have stories and anecdotes and that kind of thing? I mean, what's the toughest broadcast from your perspective?
Yeah, I probably would have said baseball, I don't know, 5 years ago, but with the pitch clock now, you don't really have as much time to tell those stories. And, you could have been several years ago before they introduced that pitch clock. You could have a minor league hitter come up 4 times in a game and he can have a 3-minute at bat each of those times. And you're trying to figure out, all right, what do I need to talk about for this guy over the course of a 9-inning game? So that was challenging to me though still. And I haven't called an NFL game yet, so I'll report back to you after tomorrow. But to me, it's college football just because of the sheer volume of names that are on the roster. And now that all of them can get into 4 games at some point in the season, you have to be ready for anything at any time, anywhere. And college coaches, I mean, they will throw the kitchen sink. They'll bring in that 4th string tight end to run some random play. And you got to be ready for it. So to me, that's the most challenging because you just have to be ready for maybe 120 names at the end of the day. And you don't know when that will happen, but you have to know the storyline of that person and where they're coming from and what they've been working on because their moment could be a big one. So to me, that's always been the most challenging from a storyline perspective. And you mentioned hockey and basketball. Those are fun just because they're so fast paced. And my first sport actually calling was hockey for a club team when I was a student. And I got the chance to understand pacing of a game and how to vary your verbiage really helped there too. But all three are very, very different, but still college football with those names, man, it could be a challenge.
We're so blessed in the Bay Area to have some of the best announcers. Obviously, Greg has been phenomenal for years. Bob Fitzgerald is a good friend of mine. He did the Olympics, and I asked him about doing some of those Olympic broadcasts, and he's like, "Man, you absolutely got to hunker down with your pronunciation guide because you can't sit there and fight names, especially if you're doing some international competition, and you really have to do your work." I remember Ted Robinson. University of Arizona had a tight end named Michael Hamanawana Nui or whatever. It was like it was like a 7-syllable name. And like Ted, and the guy hadn't caught a ball the entire game. The guy makes a play in the 4th quarter, and Ted had the perfect pronunciation. And Gary and I used to play that on KNBR over and over again because it was a testament to his work ethic that he had that down and was ready for Arizona's backup tight end, So I got to ask you, that look that you see when you look across at the road announcers of stress on their face is they're thinking about trying to pronounce the Cal quarterback's name and they can't do it. And it brings them great stress. Go ahead. You're probably a pro at this. He will always be and always has been JKS to me.
Yeah.
But can you give us the Cal quarterback pronunciation cleanly?
Yes, it is Jaron Kiave Sagapolutelli.
Look at that. That is a thing of beauty.
Yeah. So, but it helps when you can go up to that player and say, "Hey, Jaron, say your name for me and say it slow so I can get this thing right." And he was funny that the first time he set foot on campus, he knew that it was going to be something that he would have to address. And so immediately he said, "Hey, I'm totally fine with you guys calling me JKS. And I'm also okay with you calling me Jaron because his first name is Jaron Kiave. It's a hyphenated first name." And so, but he says, "Hey, Jaron is fine with me." So the first couple of games, I felt like, and Mike Pulaski too, the analyst that I've worked with for the first 3 years at Cal, we felt like we had to say his name at least almost every time in the game, just so the fans could get used to it. And now we're, for the most part, just calling him JKS, because fans are comfortable. They understand who he is and whatnot. But it's funny that you go back and you talk about Ted Robinson and all the broadcasters in the Bay Area, because there's a lot of them that, people like me idolized. And all you had to do was turn on the radio when I was growing up, and you'd hear a phenomenal broadcaster. But you learn how to pick up on things that they do well and they do right. And one of the things that I picked up from a couple of those guys that it was going up to the public address announcer on road games. And my first trip to Hawaii with San Jose State taking on the Rainbow Warriors, I was kind of looking at their pronunciation guide going, I really need help, because if this third string running back comes in that's only taken, 13, 14 snaps this year, I got to know how to say his name. But if you go up to the visiting public address announcer, they are always really helpful, because they know exactly how to say it. And obviously you go up to the home radio crew too, but they'll teach you the ins and outs of pronouncing some of those Polynesian names with the hyphens and the pauses and whatnot. So it's all little tricks that you help along the way. But yeah, the names you can get stumbled on very easily, especially with somebody like JKS.
Not everybody can be Brock Purdy. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, Brock Purdy,
they're not everybody.
Real too.
Yeah, not everybody can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not everybody can have a Mac Jones. It's too. I was thinking Niner wise, the tough pronunciations. I would say maybe.
I would
maybe
say Okwanu, right?
Sam Okwanu.
Yeah.
That's. I've heard people call him Aquinu. I've heard people say Aquinu. The other day, I'll leave the guy's name off because he's a nice guy, but there was a local announcer who badly butchered Diamador Lenore's name. Couldn't say it, like three attempts at Diamador, that's where do you ever go with one and just go, you know what? I'm going with Demo. I'm going with Demo Lenore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can, or the other side of that is say it confidently and just keep moving.
There you
go. Don't call attention to the fact that you may have stumbled over that name once or twice. No.
Yeah.
As long as you get it, first or last name, as long as you get it, just keep moving. But yeah, I think going with Demo is probably fine.
You are going to be working next to, I think, the best color analyst in the game. Now, it's funny. I went to New Orleans with my son to the Superdome for Niners Saints, and we get in the elevator to go up to the press box, and T-Rock gets in, and me and him are old friends, so and he didn't see me in there, and I said, so all of a sudden I go, is that the best color analyst in the league that just got on this elevator? And of course he's towering over everybody else, and now I've embarrassed him, and people are looking over at him, and he's like, Krug, come on, man. But Tim is fantastic, and he's high energy, and I mean, he really is good. Have you had some dialogue with him? I mean, how do you, for a partner you've never worked with before, I don't know, maybe you have worked with him, do you have to do some, pre-show dialogue about, hey, This is what, this is where I go here, this is where I go there, lay out here, or, how does that work when you're trying to adapt to a partner that you're not working with full time?
Yeah, you're right about him being really, really good, and it helps me and it helps the other fill-ins that'll be on the call this year be comfortable in the booth. So I reached out to him when I first found out I was going to get some games. Got in contact with him and didn't know what to expect, but he was absolutely fantastic. Met me at the stadium in one of the training camp practices. Chatted with him for a half hour, just not even really about football, just getting to know him. And he was great. And then you get a chance to dive into the X's and O's with him. And there's nobody better at watching the game and being able to articulate what is going on, and then turn to you as the play-by-play guy and go, hey, this is what we're looking at, and how you can diagnose the game moving forward, what needs to happen moving forward. It was great to sit in the booth. I was there for the home game against Arizona to watch him and Guy work and just to observe. And I totally got an understanding of how he processes the game and how he tries to translate it to the listeners and how he tries to work with the play-by-play guy. So I'm really looking forward to working with him. And a funny story that I told him that he probably wouldn't believe I would tell, but one of the first NFL games I ever worked, I was an intern for Fox way back when, and this was a game at Candlestick Park. Must have been 2006 or 2007. I was in college and I was working as an intern, and I was nervous because this was the first big game that I was working. I was going to be in the booth as a statistician, so I'm going up there kind of shaking, right? And in comes T-Rock. And, I'm just thinking, oh gosh, this is going to be such a challenge. He was the nicest you could ever ask for. And he was the first person that I interacted with. I think it was him, and it might have been Matt Vasgersian on the call for play-by-play. Couldn't have asked for a better booth. And so I told him this, and I was like, I know you're probably not going to believe me. Well, he remembered the exact game at Candlestick Park that he worked, because he didn't work that many that year. So it was pretty cool, kind of full circle moment for me to be one of the first NFL games that I ever was in a booth for and working with him. And now will be the first call that I have him next to me calling the action. Pretty fun.
Yeah, no, we're talking to Justin Allegri, who's going to be on the call for Niners Bucks tomorrow in Tampa. I'm really fired up for you, and I oftentimes will listen to Greg and Tim and turn the TV announcers down. This week it's Romo and Nance, and they're really good. But there's Tim and Greg, and obviously now Tim and yourself. They will give Niner fans so much more than the national announcers. And that's no attack on those national announcers. They're doing a different game each week. And there's a lot of knowledge that's built up when you go to training camp, you go to mini camp, you go to OTAs. Heck, Tim is in the huddle. I mean, he's literally knows the coaches. I mean, he just went on a fishing trip with Brant Boyer. He's got anecdotes for days. So it's really cool when you get that information as a fan. And I oftentimes will turn down the TV and listen just to the radio just so I can get those extra anecdotes and find out that information, because those guys work. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Greg works. I mean, you work. I mean, Tim works. I mean, they're, young broadcasters, if you're listening, you want to be good at this, you got to really work. I'll give you one quick anecdote. I'm at KNBR. Like, first, I'm young. I'm 26, 27. It's like 1996, 97. Get to a Cactus League game. I'm doing a show with the great Chris Townsend, also of San Jose State fame. I love Chris Townsend. So Townie and I are doing a Weekend Insiders from like Mesa's Ho Cam Park. And we get to the park at 7 o'clock in the morning because we flew right from SFO. We went right from the airport to the ballpark. We walk into the stadium. There's nobody there. I look, there's a light on in one of the corners of the press box. It's Lon Simmons, the late, great Lon Simmons. He's got a media guide and a highlighter, and he's highlighting the Cubs media guide, getting ready for the broadcast at 11. This guy's a Hall of Famer. This guy could have, it's Cactus League. Nobody would have faulted him if he just winged it, but he's not winging it. He's Lon Simmons. He's 7 o'clock in the morning, and he's highlighting the media guide, looking for anecdotes and information that he can interject into his broadcast of the Cactus League game. That level of work ethic is how you get to be great.
Yeah, and going back to the Bay Area broadcasters, I think you can pick out any one of them and have a similar story that you just told. Ken Korak with the A's, same type of way. John Miller, nobody's more prepared than him. Tim Roy on the radio for the Warriors, Dan Rusanowski for the Sharks. All those guys, the common denominator is they are prepared for the moment, no matter what that moment is. Yeah. And for me this week, the challenging thing for me this week is obviously Greg Papa is phenomenal on the radio for the 49ers. And all I'm trying to do is keep the seat warm for him. But at the same time, I want to try and be able to bring that same product, or at least close to it. So while when I'm with Cal, it's my booth. It's me and Pulowski. We've seen every snap in person live. We've seen a ton of training camp. We've seen fall camp. We know all the storylines. Here, there's a little bit of getting caught up with the ins and outs and the small things that you may miss by not watching every snap in person and not going to every practice. So I looked at my wife when I was getting ready to leave this week, and she saw my spotting board, and she goes, that's what you did this week. And it's, because you have to be prepared for anything and anything. So I over prepared for this game, probably
Good for
way
you.
more than I normally would. But I don't mind spending the time if it means I'm going to nail one call that I might miss. And I'm really looking forward to it. Really am.
Well, we're looking forward to it, and we're fired up to have you with us today. And let's talk a little bit about the matchup. What do you think? I mean, it's Mac Jones on the road. Todd Bowles loves to blitz. The 49ers have an offensive line that's a little bit challenged. They can McCaffrey out of the backfield seems to be a mismatch, especially in this matchup against Tampa. But the Niners are also going to try to get him going on the ground. They haven't been able to open those run lanes. You got two very similar football teams. I'm sure you've done a ton of prep. Give me some angles on this thing that you're looking for.
Well, first of all, there's a lot of similarities between these two teams and the way that they're winning football games right now. Obviously, Baker Mayfield is the top story. I mean, he's playing the best football of his career and really has kind of revitalized things in Tampa. But when you look at the numbers in terms of where these guys are right now, 2 4-1 teams, there's only 6 of those left in the NFL right now. Tampa Bay has won 4 games by a combined 9 points. If we think the 49ers are winning close games, it's been even tighter for Tampa Bay. And a lot of that has been in the late minutes of the fourth quarter this year. So, going back to what you said about the run game, I do think that the 49ers need to establish more of a running attack. Now, maybe in years past, that would be more challenging against this Tampa Bay defense because they are just so locked down, and Todd Bowles gets their run defense really, really solid. But this year, there have been some elements to that I think that there are chances to establish something. I think that needs to happen, especially if you're going to get into a late game situation with Baker Mayfield, the way he's scoring in the fourth quarter. You're going to have to run for some first downs and really work the clock and try and keep it away from him. So I think you're right. I think the ground game is going to be pivotal. And we heard Coach Shanahan this week talk about the run game and, them trying to make it one dimensional. So they have to try and get McCaffrey going. And that's been a struggle. But with Bucky Irving out and with some of the injuries that they have on their offense and defense, I think that's a big part of this. That's also one of the similarities. You look at this Tampa Bay offense, and you probably thought that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were going to be the guys, and Ibuka comes in as a rookie and kind of goes under their wing and maybe is the third option and see what you can do from him. Well, now he's probably going to be the rookie of the year offensively. He is playing that good. And he showed every bit of it last week in Seattle with 163 yards on 7 catches. I mean, he is a beast. So how do you match up against him? What does that look like is going to be a big part of that too. But even then, Tez Johnson's playing well. They've got a great amount of receivers behind him. To me, though, Larry, I'm all about looking at some of the numbers that may not track in this game. Baker Mayfield, over his career, is a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio guy. In Tampa, it's been a little bit better. It's been closer to 3-to-1. And he's thrown 10 touchdowns, 1 pick this year. There have been a couple that are close to interceptions. There have been a couple that have been tipped at the line. And we all know that the 49ers haven't had an interception in 12 games now. One of those has to give. There's going to be a moment in this game where the 49ers may have an opportunity to intercept him, and it may be the deciding factor. Because a 4-1 49ers team at a -3 turnover ratio, that doesn't track. There have been chances for guys like Fred Warner to get the interception this year, but I think it's going to be in this game where the bell curve swings back to Mayfield and to the 49er defense.
Yeah, that's a good call by you. I think if you just asked me, Baker Mayfield, give me a scouting report, I'd say, well, a little bit smaller, kind of throws from a little bit of a 3/4 trajectory, gets some passes batted down. He's a super gamer. But my first thought would be like, hey, guess what? This guy will throw you one. This guy will throw you an interception or two, and it's just up to you to catch it. He'll put the ball in harm's way. He'll throw the 50-50 ball. He'll squeeze it into a tight thing. He's got lots of confidence in that arm. But he'll throw you one if you're ready for it. You can pick him off. It's interesting. One of the themes that I think will be comfortable for you is I think this is a big game for Jake Tonges. And by the way, it's Tonges, right? It's not Tongus.
Yep.
It's not a hard
Tonges.
G. It's a soft Tonges. Yeah. So I think Tonges is going to be a factor here. The last 2 games, The Niner quarterbacks have targeted him 16 times. He's caught 10 balls for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tampa, the last 2 games, has given up 4 touchdowns to opposing tight ends, 2 to Goddard, 2 to Barner. I think Tonjes could get to the end zone in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a good call too, especially when you consider that Kyle Shanahan likes to throw at linebackers in coverage, right? And maybe in years past, I know Lamont David is a tremendous linebacker, 14th year now. He's got the most career interceptions as a linebacker in the NFL, but the metrics would show that in coverage the last 2 seasons, his numbers have gone down. So I don't know if that's something of a matchup that maybe they're looking at Tonjes against the linebacker, see what you can do in that regard. Hassan Reddick probably isn't what he used to be, but he's still a great defender, and they've got some good linebackers there. But I think there is an opportunity for guys like Tonjes or even McCaffrey out of the backfield to take on some of these linebackers and give kind of that release valve to Mac Jones, where you don't have to go for it all on a big shot, but you can get your positive yardage and move down the field. Kind of like what we saw in the first couple of possessions last week, where you have these long drives and you just wear them down. And if you can throw a couple of early punches against this Bucs team, you can put yourself in a position where you can settle in for the fight and just kind of hang on in the late game situation. I agree with you. I think that's a big part of this offense. And Tonjes is a breath of fresh air when you don't have George Kittle. He's really filled in very, very well in that passing game, and especially getting the touchdowns that he's had this year.
We'll let you go, but I'll tell you the other matchup I'm looking for is I think Kendrick Bourne may have another big day. I mean, Jones to Bourne looks so natural, and he targeted Bourne 11 times last week. He caught 10 of those balls for 142 yards. Tampa's given up some big days to 5 or 6 different wide receivers already this year. Mac Jones I know he's going to have Juwan Jennings most likely. We'll see. It's a game time decision. He won't have Pearsall. Obviously, still no Ayuk. But I think Kendrick Bourne, is going to show this week that last week wasn't accidental. I think Bourne is another strong performance here. It's just a guess, but it seems like Jones to Bourne is really a thing.
Yeah, and I think with Jamel Dean playing in this game, one of the corners for Tampa Bay, and Juwan Jennings probably playing in this game, it takes a little bit of the attention off a guy like Kendrick Bourne, and maybe that's a key to this game too, where he was the guy last week, but if there's another threat downfield like Jennings, maybe he can excel just being that second option and get himself in some space and make some plays, because he certainly can. And I know the 49ers didn't expect him to be the go-to guy, but they're going to need somebody in this game to be the go-to guy. Without Pearsall, and we don't know what percentage of a full go Jennings will be. I think it's a good call with Bourne. It's a challenge too, because these two teams, I mean, the one that wins this one is the one that's going to put themselves in a great position moving forward. Going a third of the way through the season and being 5-1 is a lot different than being 4-2. And with the road games that the 49ers have already under their belt and coming up, it turns out to be a high pressure type of game tomorrow.
No question. Both the Niners and the Buccaneers are teams. Both of them have played 5 one-possession games. I mean, so this almost guarantees to be a really, really hard-fought 4-quarter battle royale. And we'll be listening to you on the call, man. Have a great call. Thanks for stopping by on KNBR. I really enjoyed this conversation. I think the fans got a good idea of your background a little bit and your perspective. And man, we're fired up for the Niners to go to 5-1, and fired up for you to have this awesome opportunity. Knock it out of the park and have a great call. Break a leg, as they say, tomorrow in the booth.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It's good to chat with you.
Justin Allegri on the call. All right, we'll take a final timeout. We'll come back and wrap it up. It's 49er Forecast on a Saturday on the Sports Leader.
KNBR, the Sports Leader. Hey, have you downloaded the new KNBR app yet? If not, what's your deal?
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
No problem at all.
It's where you can stream the sports leader all day long. Plus hear every pitch of Giants baseball.
Goodbye!
Every snap of 49ers football. And every single interview from your favorite shows. Download the new KNBR app now. You won't regret it.
Yeah, I mean, the game's not today, right? So I don't really do like the theoretical questions, but definitely feel like I have a good plan in place, and the game's on Sunday, and we'll see how I feel when we get there.
Faithful, Larry Krueger's rocking the red and gold as 49ers forecast continues on KNBR, the sports leader. Sports leader.
Just let this play, man. This is one of the great riffs of all time. For those about to rock, we salute you. And I bring this up because Raf's got a gig tonight, and he plays some AC/DC covers. And this was one of my favorite ways to start Sports Phone 680 back in the day. Throw a couple giant highlights after this. And then open up the phone lines, 808 KNBR. Let's go. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, that's going to do it for 49er Forecast. I really enjoyed that conversation with Justin Allegri. I hope you guys did as well. He'll be on the call with Tim Ryan tomorrow, filling in for Greg Papa. Pop, we love you, brother. Get healthy. We're praying for you. Amy and I are saying prayers for you. We love you, brother. Nobody's better. Absolutely nobody's better. And you're going to beat this, and we're going to hear you once again do your thing. And as I said, nobody's better. I mean, I think we got the best tandem going right now, and I'm not saying that to suck up to people. Well, maybe a little bit to Tim Ryan, because, sometimes if he bangs me on the shoulder, it's like dislocation, partial separation, bruised clavicle, Tim Ryan, some of the most painful moments of my life have been Tim Ryan hugs or Tim Ryan saying hello.
I am absolutely jacked out of my mind, bro.
Did you take some hard hits in high school football? Well, yes, but it was nothing like Tim Ryan saying hi to me at minicamp. Did you ever take a crushing hit in high school football? Yeah, once in practice I got my bell rung, but it wasn't nearly as tough as OTAs and Tim Ryan saying hello. How was Easter? Oh my goodness. All right, Niners Bucks. Couple quick thoughts before we run for the door. Got to take care of the ball. Got to take care of the football. It's absolutely essential. Tampa will not turn it over. Baker doesn't turn it over, so you can't. You got to throw it to CMC in the flat. They can't cover CMC out of the backfield, and he's just too much as a receiver. I think you got to look for Tonjes, not Tongus, Tonjes. You got to look for Tonjes in the red zone. They have a really difficult time covering the tight end. And I think, believe it or not, this might be, as crazy as it sounds, the day the Niners get the run game going. Seattle gave them a blueprint last week. They ran K9 to the edges. They averaged 6.1 a carry against the number one run D in football. You're not running it inside against Vita Vea. He's like a double wide Coke machine or something. You're just no way you're going to move him. He's like 4 feet wide. He's like 6'4" in height and 4'6" in width. I mean, he's just an absolute box. So you're not moving him. So don't even try to run in the A-gaps. But you can run to the edges. Run to the edges. Let's see if we can get the run game going. I'd love to see it. I said we, but whatever. The other one is keep Hassan Reddick quiet. They paid that cat $14 million. He's stuck. He has absolutely sucked so far. He's got 1 sack and 1 quarterback hit. You got to keep Reddick and Yaya Diaby off of Mac Jones. Keep Mac Jones upright. Feature a lot of CMC in the passing game. Throw the ball to Bourne in the red zone. Maybe a little bit on Tonjes as well. And get after Baker. Get after Baker. Get your hands in the air on Baker. Bat down 2 or 3 of his passes. He throws from a low trajectory. He's about 6 feet and change. Bat down some of those passes. And then double Egbuka tilt everything towards Egbuka. When they have, when they have their other receivers and Godwin's there and Evans is there, you can't do this. But those guys aren't there. So tilt everything towards Egbuka and, make them go to Egbuka in a crowd because they're going to want to. They're going to want to go to Egbuka. He's been that good. All right, that's going to do it for us. I think I'm going to go watch some college football, maybe a little barbecue, maybe hit the gym, get ready for a big 49er Buccaneer Sunday. Thanks to Raph. Raph, have a great, your band's got a gig tonight.
Yeah,
Kill
if
it,
you're
break a
coming
leg.
out to Napa, go to Jam Cellar. We play it from 9 to 11. It's Sour Flower.
Look at that. Are women gonna be throwing their underwear up on the stage and that
We'll
kind of
see.
thing? I mean,
It's a classy place. There's going to be a lot of wine, so eventually, maybe.
go check out Raph tonight. Have a great Saturday. Thanks to Justin Allegri for stopping by. Thanks for listening to The Sports Leader.